The here and now. Everyone's got to step up.
They don't like each other much. They never have.
We're going to beat you anyway.
Good.
Anyway.
Jay.
Because we know we're better than you.
Jay, come on to us.
We've got a mentality that we're better than you.
Come on to us. Do it.
Against your mob.
Good.
You're woeful.
Can you win the title?
Unless there's something in the rules that says Tottenham can't. Yeah, I think every team can.
I'd be gobsmacked if they were to stay, if they were still there with 2 months to go.
Son tucks it in from 4 yards out after a beautiful move.
It's not Mauricio Pochettino's fault, and give him time.
No excuses. Top form.
We are, building a very strong team. The mentality is there.
The spotlight is on both.
He's still going Sterling. It's a brilliant goal for Chelsea.
Spurs have more points than the Arsenal Invincibles did at the same stage back in 03-04.
It is a feisty derby, a test of credentials.
You're listening to The Social on talkSPORT2, and we're building up to that big game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this evening. Spurs take on Chelsea. Mauricio Pochettino returns to the ground that he had some really good times at, really and truly, and to the club that he had some good times with, all the way to a Champions League final, which is pretty impressive, you have to say. Joining us on the show to look ahead to that is Spurs fan and podcaster Chris Cowlin. Chris, how are you? Good to speak to you again.
Harry, lovely to be on. Thanks so much for asking me. And super excited ahead of tonight's game. Really, really excited.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? We talk about Mauricio Pochettino's return, which is clearly going to be the headline around this match. I'm interested to know what kind of reception you think that Mauricio Pochettino's going to get. We were speaking last week about Declan Rice going back to West Ham, and there was a bit of a mixed reception there. How do you think it's going to play out for Poch this evening?
I'll be honest, Harry, I think it's going to be very mixed. I know a lot of people that are very angry that he's gone to Chelsea wearing that Chelsea badge. I know a lot of people who have a lot of admiration and respect for him because, of course, what he's done at the football club. You've got to remember that he delivered European football in every single season that he was at Tottenham Hotspur, took us to a Champions League final. Sadly, we didn't get over the line and win a trophy with him, but he gave us some real special nights at Tottenham, at Wembley. There's a lot of respect for Mauricio Pochettino, but, to wear that Chelsea badge now, perhaps is a little bit too far. There are a lot of fans not liking the fact that he has gone to one of our biggest rivals. I think he would have been very different had he have come back if he was the manager of Manchester United or PSG or another top European club. But coming back with Chelsea, I think that some people will be hesitant to give him the applause that perhaps he does deserve.
How will you personally respond to Mauricio Pochettino? Will you be clapping him? Will you be booing him? Will you be staying silent? How are you personally planning to welcome him back?
To be honest, Harry, I've thought about this long and hard for the last couple of days, and I think that ask me that at 8 p.m. this evening when he walks out that tunnel. I don't know how I'm going to feel. It's going to be very, very strange because I've got a lot of time, a lot of respect for Mauricio Pochettino, and you've got to remember as well that at the end of last season, under Antonio Conte, Mason and Stellini, the Spurs fans were actually singing Pochettino's name because most of the fan base wanted Pochettino back. Of course, the club didn't pick up the phone. It sounds like in his press conferences in the last couple of days, Pochettino really wanted to come back, and sounds like he even wants to come back to Tottenham after the Chelsea job. It's quite strange, really, that some of the stuff that he's been coming out with. But it's going to be a strange feeling, I must say, inside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But I think to answer your question, perhaps I'll applaud Pochettino once we've got the 3 points.
Mauricio Pochettino has been speaking about his return to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Let's have a listen in to what he had to say.
I'm not going to say nothing at the moment because until Monday we cannot guess, what is going to happen there. The most important is people know we cannot forget all that we live together. Amazing memories there, and then I'm going to respect the people, how they're going to express. But it's not going to change my emotion, my view, my feelings about a club that I think we spend unbelievable journey.
So Mauricio Pochettino not making it secret, that he still has an affiliation with Tottenham, that he still has a respect for the club, that it's probably going to be quite an emotional night for him. On Spurs, Chris, there's been a lot of talk about their start to the season, which you have to say has been impressive. But a lot of their critics, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily me, but I think the general consensus is that they've played a lot of teams that they should be beating. And with Chelsea, although they are historically a big Premier League sort of club, and you know they've done incredibly well over the last couple of decades, on the whole, they're not in a good way at the moment. So does this kind of feed into the narrative? If Spurs win tonight, are people just going to say, well, Chelsea are in a bad way, so it doesn't prove anything?
Absolutely, and most of the time when Spurs do get a good result and go away from home and grind out a result, like at Luton, for example, it was only Luton. It was an easy game anyway. Well, Liverpool didn't find it very easy the other night, and I think that we've played Liverpool, we've played Arsenal, we've got good results.
You've played United as well. Not that that's exactly a great measure at the moment, but you've played United. Yeah,
of course. But you can only play what's in front of you, and I think that every single game, we've performed extremely well. No Tottenham Hotspur fan expected us to be sitting where we are in the table right now, unbeaten after 10 Premier League games, the best start since 60-61 season, when, of course, the last time we won the title. It has been an unbelievable start. Postecoglou has transformed this club. Across the board. The women are doing well, the under-18s, the under-21s, the first team. There seems to be such a change in the last couple of months at the football club. Everyone is smiling again. The players are getting on so well. Everyone is really, really enjoying it, including the fans. And Postecoglou said in his press conference a couple of weeks ago that the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is like a nightclub, and it really is, Harry. If you haven't been to a Tottenham game, which I assume you haven't this season, I tell you what, it has been a party atmosphere. The fans are absolutely loving every single minute before the game, after the game, and of course we're really, really being entertained on the pitch. Postecoglou, as I say, has transformed the team across the board, and it has been really, really great to see. Can we go on to win the title? I am not talking about titles yet. I'm taking one game at a time. Of course, we have gone through a lot of very difficult times since Pochettino left us in 2019. We've brought in a couple of win-now managers. We've had some difficult times. We've seen some turgid football at times as well under these win-now managers. But Postecoglou, I think, that is taking us in the right direction, and that is the main thing.
Let's have a listen to what Ange Postecoglou's been saying ahead of this one. Big night for him as well.
It hasn't been sort of anything specific or predetermined. We've just changed the environment and changed sort of the way we train and the way we do things. And then it's up to the players themselves. It's as much their decision as mine as to whether they embrace that and take it on board. I don't think there'd be any player who wouldn't take responsibility for what happened last year. It wouldn't just fall at the manager's steps, and sort of manager's feet. It's when you have a tough period, everyone, what I found anyway is, the real sort of strong people understand that they're just as culpable as anyone else. And the only way to change that is by, changing, and embracing whatever the new direction is. And, whether there have been existing players and new players, everyone's, all staff, they've been prepared to do that, which means to me that they've, accepted responsibility for what happened last year. And now, understand that if we're going to have success, if we're going to be the team we want to be, they've got to take their own share of that responsibility by, buying into it.
He talks about the environment. He talks about accountability, that, the best people understand that they're culpable as well when things are not going well. What do you think he's done behind the scenes, Chris? I know we don't know, obviously, but in terms of your opinion, you follow Spurs very, very closely. You cover the club in great detail. What is it that you can see that's different at Tottenham right now? Because it's clear that everybody's bought in. It's clear that everybody's embraced this style of football. So what is it that's changed specifically?
Well, I think the main thing is the recruitment. The recruitment in the summer was absolutely exceptional. To bring in James Maddison, Mickey van der Ven, Vicario, to name three players, going through the spine of the team, it has completely transformed the team and made us, the team that we are at the moment, playing great stuff. And in his Bargo press conference, Postecoglou said that, one thing he wanted to be really involved in and be in charge of is the recruitment, because the people coming into the club are extremely important, to take the club forward and do the job that he wants to do. So I think that the recruitment, from Tottenham has been absolutely sensational in the summer, and let's hope that it will continue in the January transfer window and, of course, future transfer windows as well, because I think under previous managers, the transfer windows haven't been that impressive. But, I think James Maddison has been a real statement signing. He has transformed the Tottenham Hotspur midfield. And, the starting 11 is an extremely good team. And it can push for, a top 4 spot. I don't think I've any doubt of that. And I wouldn't have said that before we kicked the ball in the Premier League season. But the great start that we've had now, I think that everyone is expecting Champions League football. But as I say, Postecoglou has just given those players the freedom. I think that one thing which has been absolutely fantastic as well is giving Heung-min Son the captain's armband. Appointing James Maddison and Romero as vice-captains. I think that we've now got a number of leaders on the pitch. Romero is a different player this season. He seems like a real leader playing next to new signing Mickey van der Ven. That is a real great defence there. And I think that every single player is playing for the shirt and every single player is wanting to entertain the fans. And that's something that we haven't been used to seeing in previous seasons.
Chris, thank you so much, mate. Before I let you go, though, quick prediction on this one. I'm assuming you're going to be at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium tonight.
Absolutely. I'm just leaving my house now, so really looking forward to it. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Tottenham win.
Goal scorers?
Heung-min Son, both of them.
Nice one. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you give Chris Cowlin a follow on YouTube and all the various other places. Thank you so much for joining us, mate, and enjoy the game tonight. You're listening to the talkSPORT2 social with William Hill. Get epic value all season with William Hill. 18+, begambleaware.org.